I used to believe safety was something you felt, a warm certainty, like locking a door at night and knowing nothing could get in. I was wrong. The sound that woke me wasn't glass breaking or footsteps. It was silence. The kind that presses against your ears so hard, your heart starts pounding just to prove you're still alive. I reached for the empty space beside me in bed. Cold sheets. "Mark?" I whispered. No answer. Then I heard it, soft, deliberate movement in the hallway. Before I could sit up, Mark bolted past the bedroom doorway. I barely registered his face as he ran. His eyes were wide, panicked, already gone. A second later, the bathroom door slammed shut. The lock clicked. And just like that, I was alone. This was the man who always said, "Nothing will ever happen to you as long as I'm here." This was the man who promised he'd protect me. My bedroom door creaked open. A shadow filled the frame, followed by the unmistakable outline of a gun. The intruder stepped inside slowly, like he had all the time in the world. The barrel pointed directly at my chest. "Don't scream," he said calmly. "Just do what I say." I didn't cry. I didn't freeze. I complied. He swept my jewelry into a bag, necklaces my grandmother gave me, earrings I wore on special days. Then he found the emergency cash hidden in the drawer Mark and I agreed would only ever be touched if we were desperate. The whole time, I could hear Mark breathing behind the bathroom door. When the intruder finally left, the house felt hollow, like something essential had been ripped out. A minute passed, then another. "Is he gone?" Mark called out. I stared at the bathroom door, stunned by how small he sounded. "Yes," I said flatly. I called the police with shaking hands. They arrived quickly, flashlights cutting through the dark. They asked questions, checked doors, took notes. When they asked Mark what happened, he couldn't meet their eyes. I told the story. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't have to. The officers exchanged glances, brief, subtle, but unmistakable. One of them suggested security cameras. Another nodded slowly, like he'd already reached a conclusion he couldn't say out loud. That night, Mark fell asleep instantly. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering what would have happened if the intruder decided I was a problem instead of a witness. The next morning, I made breakfast like everything was normal. Eggs, toast, coffee. Mark sat across from me, hands wrapped around his mug. "If this is about last night," he said carefully, "I can explain." I waited. "My body just reacted," he said, "fight or flight. It wasn't a choice. I was thinking about survival." I nodded. His explanation made sense. But something still felt broken. "You ran," I said quietly, "and you locked the door." He apologized, promised it would never happen again, said at least we were both alive. I accepted the apology, but trust doesn't snap back into place. It fractures. And once I started noticing the cracks, I couldn't stop. The first crack had appeared years earlier. We were at a restaurant, early in our relationship. I posted a photo of my food. Nothing revealing, just a moment. My ex showed up. He stood over our table, voice rising, accusing me of replacing him with someone weak. He called me names. He begged. He shouted. Mark didn't move. He shrank into his chair like he wanted to disappear. The waiter was the one who called the police. I was the one who filed for a restraining order. Alone. Back then, I told myself Mark just didn't know my past, that fear explained everything. Now I wasn't so sure. A few days after the break-in, we went to the movies. As we walked toward the theater, a man bumped into me hard enough to knock the popcorn from my hands. Kernels scattered across the floor. The guy didn't apologize. He didn't even stop. Mark watched him walk away. "Aren't you going to say something?" I asked. "We'll miss the previews," he replied. I sat through the movie hungry, angry, and slowly realizing this wasn't a one-time failure. This was a pattern. On my mom's birthday, I pulled my sister Lauren into her old bedroom. I told her everything: the break-in, the restaurant, the movie theater. Her eyes widened. "Your life sounds like a thriller," she said, "but not the kind where the hero shows up." I laughed, but it didn't reach my chest. She told me Mark probably acted out of fear, that love isn't about courage all the time. Her words didn't comfort me. They unsettled me. Because deep down, I already knew something was missing. The next day, I met my best friend for brunch. She asked how Mark and I were doing. I told her the truth. She went quiet. Then she told me a story. Years ago, in New York, she stepped into traffic without looking. A bus was seconds away. Her boyfriend tackled her out of the street. He took the risk without thinking. I smiled for her. I congratulated her. Then I went to the bathroom and cried. Mark tried to make things right. He took me to dinner. A few tables away, a couple started arguing. The man yelled. The woman fired back. Then he hit her. The room erupted. Men jumped to their feet. Mark stood up too. For a moment, I thought maybe this time would be different. Then he ran, straight toward the exit. I dropped cash on the table and followed him outside, my hand shaking, not with fear, but clarity. The final straw came at the dog park. Our tiny chihuahua ran back to me as a large dog barked aggressively. The dog lunged. Mark stepped behind me. Later, when I asked why, he said, if both of us got hurt, who would call for help? I realized then, in every dangerous moment, Mark always made sure he survived first. I drove to my parents' house the next day. My mom listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, love matters, but so does feeling safe. She talked about my father, how he protected our family without hesitation, without calculation. I knew my answer before she finished speaking. She hugged me like she already understood. When I told Mark I was leaving, his face collapsed. He begged, promised change, explained instincts. I don't want to change you, I said, but I can't build a future where I feel alone during the worst moments of my life. I packed that night. The next morning, I felt lighter than I had in years. Years later, I met someone new, someone steady, someone brave. For the first time, safety wasn't something I hoped for. It was something I felt. And I finally understood. Love without courage isn't protection. It's just company.